When it comes to C-list celebs, few have had a stranger downfall than Tila Tequila. Here's how she went from being a MySpace phenomenon to a conspiracy theorist who compares herself to Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, let's see. It's a very complex situation.
After MySpace launched in August 2003, it took a year for the platform to grow to 5 million users. The platform reached its peak in 2008 with a record 115 million users. That being said, it was obviously a big deal for a single user on the social network to have more than 1 million friends. As of April 2006, Tila had a reported 31.5 million page views on MySpace, and by March 2007, she had accumulated 1.7 million friends. Despite her huge fan base, Tila gradually became frustrated with the social website. She called out MySpace in a March 2007 blog post and accused the platform of, quote, cutting down our freedom and taking away our rights slowly after the platform wouldn't allow her to sell her music. Note that MySpace didn't actually keep her from selling her music. They just removed a disruptive widget that must have caused Tila a few technical headaches. She eventually steered away from the site and sought the spotlight elsewhere. In her chat with Rock Confidential, Tila explained that her love for music began in middle school. She decided to pursue the craft as the lead vocalist of the bands Jealousy and Beyond Betty Jean. When asked about her songwriting process, she said, "I just sing and write what I feel is in my heart, and I don't care what anybody else thinks of it. I am damn proud because I get to do what I love most, and having other people appreciate my music will only be a super bonus." Although Beyond Betty Jean had dreams of landing a record deal, the group fell apart. Tila ultimately went solo and released her debut single, I Love You, in February 2007. The song, which was number 75 on the digital songs chart, preceded her first EP, Sex. The electronic pop compilation featured songs such as Little Brat and Rat Room, and was published by the Saturday Team in March 2007. 3 years later, she rebranded as Miss Tila. This is when she released her second body of work, an extended play named Welcome to the Dark Side, under her own record label, Little Miss Trendsetter, Inc. If you don't remember that album, well, the reviews were mixed at best, with the usual complaint being Tila's weak vocals. Never a good thing when you fancy yourself as a singer. That was her last music album to date.
This is on The Onion. So, mixed, let's call it mixed reviews.
While other stars refused to define their sexuality, Tila was open about being bisexual and even made a show out of it.
I want to let you all know that I'm a bisexual.
Her reality television series A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila premiered on MTV in October 2007. The dating show borrowed from the playbook of ABC's controversial long-running show, The Bachelor. A total of 30 contestants, 15 women and 15 men, competed to win over Tequila's heart. The show had 1.8 million viewers when it first aired, and by November 2007, its viewership had spiked to 4.2 million. While its format made for good entertainment, Tila's reality show had its shortcomings. 25-year-old Bobby Banhart beat the other contestants to emerge the winner of Season 1, but he later claimed there was no real shot at love with Tila Tequila, since he was ditched after the show. According to him, she didn't call him or allow anyone to give him her number. The show's second season also had its fair share of drama. Its winner, Christy Morgan, declined to pursue a relationship with Tila. Are you ready for the big twist? Are you sitting down? Well, Tila admitted in 2018 that she faked the whole bisexual thing for the cameras. I know, you're shocked.
This is quite a shock. On the other hand, it's not surprising in the least.
So what did she do next? In 2008, she released her book, Hooking Up with Tila Tequila, A Guide to Love, Fame, Happiness, Success, and Being the Life of the Party. The Socialite Manual was a collaborative effort between Tila and author Sarah Tomlinson, which featured her rise to the top of the digital world, an in-depth look at her life away from the cameras, and images her fans had never seen before. She also offered responses to questions from her fan base and dished out life advice. She held book signings at several bookshops, including a Barnes & Noble in New York City and Borders bookstore in Los Angeles, California, where several fans showed up to meet her. No, really. What's almost forgotten today, and for reasons we'll get into in a bit, is that there was a time when Tila Tequila was quite popular, and people were really interested in what she was saying. Things took a dark turn the following year. In September 2009, Tila and ex-San Diego Chargers linebacker Shawne Merriman were reportedly embroiled in an early morning altercation that turned physical. According to reports, the disagreement occurred at Merriman's San Diego residence and led Tila to authorize a citizen's arrest warrant for the ex-athlete. She sought to press charges against Merriman for battery, but he denied any wrongdoing. He eventually released a statement that read in part, "I in no way caused any harm to Ms. Nguyen. However, paramedics were called and she was examined, but no injuries were reported. She was released and has since returned to Los Angeles, California. There have been no charges filed against me." Just days later, District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis dropped the case against Merriman, saying there was insufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that any crime was committed. Tila still took Merriman to court with claims that the linebacker had choked her. In return, he retaliated with a lawsuit of his own, alleging that the case affected a business deal between him and Walmart Inc. The pair eventually reached an out-of-court agreement in February 2010. In March 2012, it was reported that Tila was hospitalized following an alleged attempt to take her own life. Her roommate claimed that she had been in crisis for the previous week. The police were called to her home in the wee hours of the morning, during which Tequila had an exchange with the police while in and out of consciousness before being taken away in an ambulance. Further reports indicated that she had a brain aneurysm, but it was uncertain whether the diagnosis was a result of an apparent drug overdose. Her manager told E! News at the time, "Tila continues to recover and is doing better. We ask that her privacy is respected during this difficult time. Tila is in a wheelchair right now as she is very weak." She was later taken into a rehabilitation center and released in April 2012 upon finishing treatment. She was given a clean bill of health and, per her manager, ready to get back to work. For Tila, getting back to work involved getting canceled. Yep, in 2013, she took to X, which was still Twitter at the time, and posted a picture of herself alongside two men performing the salute associated with that guy. Yeah. She also called old Adolf a brilliant artist who was ahead of his time. This, of course, got her suspended from the platform and is a pretty bad take because he was a terrible artist, not even counting the other stuff. A year later, she issued an apology, which read in part, "Back in 2013, I made a statement about Hitler not being a bad person and immediately realized soon after that I had made a terrible mistake that would ultimately come back to haunt me." After claiming her rant was a result of her addiction problems and severe depression, she said, "I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible, reckless, and selfish actions, and I hope that everyone can forgive me for the pain that I may have caused." These comments eventually came back to haunt her again not long after she was cast on the UK version of Big Brother in 2015. Ultimately, she only spent one night in the house before producers became aware of her previous Hitler comments.
You know what? You Brit boys could never handle me.
After she was booted, a spokesperson told the BBC, "The views Tila had expressed and permitted to remain uncorrected are totally unacceptable, and accordingly, her continued involvement in the program was untenable." It was a good call on their part since she ended up spouting more hateful rhetoric soon after. In 2016, she took to X and called for Jewish conservative media personality Ben Shapiro's death. Sarah Silverman ended up in her crosshairs as well. Tila first hinted at getting pregnant in a December 2009 tweet in which she said she would be her brother and sister-in-law's surrogate. In February of the following year, she claimed that she was showing signs of a miscarriage. A little over 4 years later, Tila was expecting a child of her own. She told Us Weekly in 2014, "I truly feel that my baby has saved my life, and I will do whatever it takes to give my little baby the whole entire world. I know I'm going to cry so much when the baby is finally born later this year." Her first child, a baby girl named Isabella Monroe Nguyen, arrived on November 16, 2014. She couldn't contain her excitement after her daughter's birth and said in another chat with Us Weekly, "I am so in love with her. She's so perfect and beautiful." Tila is no stranger to custody battles. When her ex, Casey Johnson, died in 2010, she revealed her intention to get custody of Casey's adopted daughter, Ava Monroe. And 6 years later, her baby daddy, Thomas Whitaker, took her to court over the custody of their daughter, Isabella. Whitaker reportedly claimed that she was not a suitable parent. In 2018, the year her second daughter, Annabelle, was born, The Blast reported that the two parties were still battling for custody over Isabella. Whitaker alleged that Tila, quote, engaged in a history or pattern of child neglect. He was reportedly asking for full guardianship of Isabella and suggested that Tila should be allowed to have visiting hours. When the exes came to an agreement in December 2019, their resolution didn't go Whitaker's way. Per court documents obtained by The Blast, Tila maintained the authority to direct the moral and religious training of the child and would be Isabella's primary parent. Whitaker, on the other hand, was granted regular visits and required to part with $217 per month in child support. Tila was ordered to not consume alcohol and/or controlled substances, quote, while in possession of the child, unquote, which feels odd at first that a judge needs to tell her that, but when you hear the next part, it probably won't anymore. After staying out of the spotlight for a while, she found religion and returned to the mix with a whole host of outlandish claims. In a since-removed YouTube video, she compared herself to Jesus Christ, saying that the enemy has tried to kill her and that she was chosen before the other foundations of the world. She went on to seg into some conspiracy theories, claiming that Paris Hilton was drugged by her family and that Tila's ex, Courtney Samal, had killed her other ex, Casey Johnson. And that was just one video. She's posted many others since, each of them more bizarre and disturbing than the next.
Oh yeah, by the way, we are actually inside of a huge spaceship.
It was also around this time that she started selling her artwork on Etsy for ludicrous amounts of money, claiming that her pieces were, quote, actual relics or magic.
But it wasn't.
Though her Etsy page is currently blank as of this video, screenshots of certain items remain. For instance, here's one called Lady in Waiting, which was priced at $50,000.